Aussie gamers, and welcome to Gaming with the Old Boys, a show about pretty much whatever the hell we want. I'm Snoogans, and with me is
Royboy, or Roy, whatever you want to call me.
whatever works. Alright, thanks for joining in, and we're just putting a little bit of a show together over the next few weeks in the hiatus from Lewkone and Red and the regular Aussie Gamers Express podcast. So just having a bit of a chat, shoot the breeze, nothing really exciting. But let's get into it, mate. So, first big thing that we've had in the last week, probably not really gaming related, but something right up our alleys, is the release of the much anticipated Rogue One.
Star Wars is almost as old as us.
It's older.
A little bit.
Thankfully.
But, no, I really enjoyed it.
Well, we went to the midnight session. Some of the first people in Australia to see it, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, Snoogs, he sent me a message through a couple of days before it, and I was a bit tired and that, but eventually I didn't need much twisting of the arm, but
Well, at least you didn't turn up in costume this time.
no, not like last year. No, but we went along to midnight. It was a tiring, long night, but it was worth it.
Yeah, they seemed to turn the heaters up in that cinema a couple of times. It got stinking hot in there.
And I'm never eating cinema popcorn again. Every time I go to the movies, that's the last of the popcorn, but I still keep going back. It's just something about that stale popcorn that just...
It's been sitting there since 1 in the afternoon.
Gets you in the guts. But no, I thoroughly enjoyed it.
How did you think of where it fits in the timeline?
It finishes pretty much where it all starts.
Exactly. That's good. Yeah.
That's summing it up, without any spoilers. But I mean, if you haven't seen it but know, there's something wrong with you.
Get out and do it.
But no, it was good to see some fresh characters outside of the ones that we normally come across. I mean, the Star Wars universe has got so many different people and characters in it that there isn't this just single war between Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader. There's
So much else going on.
So much else going on, as you said, and yeah, it was really cool. And the way, without spoiling it too much, there's a lot of Easter eggs and references to the 70s and 80s Star Wars. So for the old school Star Wars fans, there's a lot of Easter eggs that you'll enjoy. And quite surprisingly as well, because I thought all those actors were dead, and probably are.
And what sort of sensation did you reckon you got? I felt a little strange watching a movie that I'd never seen before, but I already knew the ending. So it was a strange sensation for me, being that, well, we're both massive nerds when it comes to the Star Wars lore and different offsets outside the movies themselves, but it was a bit of a strange sensation.
The thing about a midnight session is you're tired, or for me, I'm tired. I've had a long day at work, and whereas opposed to seeing a movie during the day, you're all excited, you're all up and about. When you're tired, you kind of sit back and take the moment in, and there is a lot of stuff that I've read since watching the movie, and there's little bits that I've missed. So I mean, I really want to go back and watch this one again. And you can already pre-order it in the PlayStation Store. I noticed that the other day when I went through the store. I'm a Star Wars fan. I have been since I was old enough to walk and talk. I just enjoy it for what it is, and that is that there's never been anything Star Wars that I haven't really liked, except for Caravan of Courage, and the Ewoks cartoon and the Droids cartoon. But outside of all that, in the movies wise, there's nothing that's crap about it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, the special effects and everything, and some of the fight scenes and the space scenes are just absolutely...
Well, I suppose we can let one mild spoiler out because it's been out in the news already. The fact that they've intertwined unused footage from A New Hope.
Yeah,
they've rolled that into Rogue One.
There's that, and when you see that in the space battle, it kind of ties it in that this is the rebellion, and like if you watch Rogue One and it just ties it all together with the end of A New Hope. Like if you watched Rogue One without those references to it, and you went into watch A New Hope, it'd be like, where'd they find these guys?
Yeah.
And and it does give that little bit of hope that not everybody dies. Because essentially, well, we're spoiling it now.
We're spoiling a 30-year-old trilogy, so I don't think it matters.
Well, there is that continuation of characters that go through into A New Hope. There is some of the technology, I think, in regards to the obvious actors that have passed away since 1977, to have them CGI'd into the movie was kind of cool, but in some parts it was so glaringly obvious that it was a cartoon figure. Yeah,
there were some parts where it would have just been best for a voice or a back of head shot with a voice or something like that would have done it.
I mean, they've done it with the Terminator. With Arnold Schwarzenegger, they got a body double in for Arnie. They computerized the face so it looked like Arnie from the original Terminator. They've tried to do this with this movie. We're still a couple of years away from having something that is...
Yeah, to give it to that unpolished look, like you can tell. Even if you don't know who the characters are that we're talking about, it's something that is pretty glaringly obvious, I suppose.
But I think we're nitpicking over what is essentially a really great... It's a great movie on its own. I think even if you didn't know anything about Star Wars, well, who doesn't like Star Wars?
I think if you were just getting into Star Wars and you watched A New Hope, Rogue One, you would go and watch A New Hope afterwards. It would grab you enough to want to see what happens.
And that's exactly what it did. I went home after Rogue One and I watched the first 10 minutes of A New Hope, and it actually made that first 10 minutes of A New Hope make a lot of sense, because now you know where the spaceship's coming from, the Star Destroyer, and it just kind of ties it all together. It's essentially the perfect beginning to, and a perfect lead-in to the original Star Wars trilogy.
But I must admit, moment of the film for me, goosebumps, hairs all standing up, James Earl Jones back as Darth Vader's voice.
And the choke.
Oh, of course, the choke. Can't get over the choke.
I hope you don't choke on your aspirations, director. But no, I don't go in expecting to see a lot of Vader, but when Vader was there,
Vader is definitely a presence. He's a presence he deserved to be.
He's a badass.
Oh, indeed.
But we won't say anything, because if you haven't seen it, that'll totally spoil it.
Exactly.
But he steals the show in a way that he's in it for very brief moments, but it's those brief moments that really
define who he is as a character.
Yeah.
And as an just a complete figure within the universe.
But great movie.
Top movie. We'll be back again. Go and see it again for sure. Alright, we're moving along. We've had a couple of reviews up this week. So do you want to start off with your one for The Last Guardian?
The Last Guardian went up yesterday morning. If you haven't checked it out, go to AussieGamersExpress.com. I gave it 7 out of 10. It does have its flaws. It does irritate you at times, but if you see through those how do you say it? If you see through the flaws of the game and take it for what it is on paper, it's a piece of art. I mean, you've got to respect and admire the people that put video games together. They're super highly intelligent. They program stuff, and the way that the character Trico is in the game, the way it acts, and the way it moves, and is totally covered in feathers. And I mean, the work to get all those feathers and stuff to move individually is just and the way the game looks is just visually stunning as well. And Yeah, it's up there on the page. Have a read through. It's probably a game that you have to play to experience, and it's just for that reason that it is a work of art. That as opposed to a video game, it's like a painting, and all the way through, it's very well done. But it does have its flaws, but you can see through the flaws and see it for what it is. And as I said in my review, it commenced development in 2007, and by playing it now, you can see that the technology wasn't there back in the day when they started developing it. I think it was originally promised on PlayStation 2.
It was one of the last
3.
for PlayStation 2 and an original release title for the PS3.
And then it's just gone through delays. It's been showcased at E3 2 or 3 times in the past, and it really hasn't been able to come through until the power of the PlayStation 4.
So is it suffering a bit from one game in particular that had a similar sort of issue was the more recent Duke Nukem, where it was in development hell for 4.5 or 5 years.
It's essentially just a platformer. So basically you climb through the levels, jumping from place to place, go looking for certain objects.
So really does it kind of feel like a remaster, more so than a new game because of that delay that it's had, or?
It's a new game. It's just I think that everyone else has moved on to newer and better things, and this is kind of in that spot.
Still where it was 10 years ago.
Where it was 10 years ago.
Some of the camera movements were saying
Yeah,
you were saying it's glitchy and.
It's third-person perspective, but you use the right thumbstick to control the camera, and sometimes when you first walk into an area, the camera automatically zooms out around the area, and then depending on where you want to go, you need to move the camera in order to see different areas, and sometimes the camera will move and it'll move in behind a wall, so all you see is the wall. Sometimes Trico, the big creature, gets in the way, so you end up with a big close-up of dog cat bum. And sometimes when you climb up on a Trico, you get stuck in under its legs or around the back, and you've got to move the camera around. It's just clunky and fidgety, and it's just not smooth.
Yeah.
And a lot of other games and titles that coming out now, I mean, third-person games, Division, you can move the camera around a little bit, and you can move around smooth, and it all comes through together. This is a little bit clunky, but no, it's a game to experience. I mean, Fumita Uehara, the Japanese developer, and Sony Interactive Japan, they've put their soul and time into it, and you've got to respect the brains behind it and what they've tried to bring forth. And I mean, it's just, I don't think it lived up to the hype that it lived up to, and I think it overstayed its welcome in terms of development. I think if this game had just sat on the shelf as never to be released, I think
it'd have more of a cult following then.
Probably.
Yeah.
And
it's unfortunate like that, but sometimes it's just what needs to happen,
and then some geek could get their hand on it in about 5 years' time and remaster it and
polish it till it's no tomorrow. Yeah. It'll come out in 84K or 86K or whatever's next.
10K.
Oh, brilliant.
Over 9,000. And your review this week that went up?
Final Fantasy 15. So that went live on, I believe it was Sunday. A long time in development, that review.
Because you were telling me before that you actually put about 30 to 40 hours into it and then went back and started all over again.
Yeah, I'm very much guilty of what we've come to know around the traps as red moding a game. So I will find everything and every little nook and cranny, any little side mission or quest or anything like that. I absolutely indulge in every little bit of lore that there is to a game, especially something that's wide open. And my first playthrough for Final Fantasy was a review playthrough. So it was straight down the storyline. I'd only done 2 side quests, and
If somebody stopped to say hello, you say goodbye and kept
yeah,
going.
I'd just sort of keep on going. One side quest did get the better of me, where there was a kitten.
Was that big one I sat here and watched you play for 2
No,
hours?
not that. Not that bloody thing. I ended up burning that. But no, there was a kitten on a dock. Right, and saw this little kitten, and it come up with a quest icon. So I'm like, okay, well, Final Fantasy, brilliant. This might help me out later on. It'll turn into some massive creature. You know, it'll sprout wings. Whatever weird and wonderful thing will come out of it. So I did the side quest. But the side quest was to feed the cat. Didn't have any cat food, so I had to go and catch a fish. But only a certain type of fish that the cat would eat.
Yeah,
So I found that fish, went down to another dock, fished it, got it back, took the fish back. No, cat doesn't eat raw fish, got to go and get it cooked. So I had to find a chef. So then I had to go and get it cooked for the cat. And then come back and gave it to the cat, and on this nice little dish, all presented well for it. Apparently this cat's known in the area. And that was it. It was done. That's all the quest was.
Did you get any reward or anything?
I got a ton of XP, so it was actually quite a rewarding quest, XP wise, or AP for your action points. But nuts and bolts story wise, it was pointless. There was nothing all that exciting to it. But you get them. You always get them in the game. They can't, something that big. Not every quest that you go on can be main story quality.
Do you think these quests, like the cat that they put in the game, do you think that's just content filler because they promise such a big game? So outside of the story, you've got to throw side missions in, so they just stuff it will feed a cat.
Yeah, well, it can be looked at that. You can look at it as just content filler. But on the other respect too is, I got to certain parts in the game when I was just playing the story, where I was at one stage I was level 15. Well, that monster, for instance, that we sat and I raged over, I was a level 9 or 10 when I got to that point.
Yeah.
That monster was level 15. Now, in a lot of games, you can sort of guess your way around it to try and take down a monster that's 2 or 3 levels on top of you.
Mm-hmm.
When you're getting 5 or 6, just good luck. As you saw, me sitting there twisting the controller ready to throw it through the TV. I had to stop doing the main quests. The main quest to go and do a side quest to level up a little bit further, so that I could complete and move my way through. So by the time I got towards the end of it, it was started to get a bit frustrating, underpowered, kind of limping through a lot of the encounters that I had. So made the decision to call it quits on that one and go back and start again. So I'm now about 5 and a bit hours into playthrough number 2.
Yep.
And still back in the first region, just going hunting, helping out the locals and doing what you can.
Do they appreciate your help?
They love my help. I get the nice little sound at the end of it, and yeah, a good bit of coin, and also a bit of gil, as they call it.
So you played it for 35, 40 hours first playthrough.
Yep.
Second playthrough. So say on average you played about 45 hours.
Yep.
How big is this game? Because it's a game I'll realistically never play because I don't have the time to sit there and
Yep.
Try The Witcher. I'm halfway through The Witcher.
Yeah.
It's a rainy day game now. How big is this game?
You could lose 200 plus hours of your life into that game easily,
And never finish it.
if you chose to play it that way. Yeah. The story does grab you, and you do want to push through it. But you can also it can become very diluted. One of the things that when you have a look at the review on AussieGamersExpress.com, one of the things that I actually brought up was balance. This is a game really where you need that balance, because you can get lost in the story, and you get to that point like I was, where you're starting to get frustrated because the enemies are just 1 or 2 in front of you, and you're just it's sometimes becomes too much of a challenge. But then you can also go the complete other way and go and wander off into the ether and do whatever you want and never finish the story and just be, you know, off in the wild somewhere. So you need to find that balance where you're playing through the main story and you're doing your side quests, but you're not doing too many side quests so that you forget where you are on the main story, because it is a very engaging story. And one thing that I've said in my early thoughts review and again in this one is the movie Kingsglaive. Now, while it's not compulsory, I suggest if you are a fan of the Final Fantasy world, I suppose you would call it, to go and actually check out Kingsglaive, because it kind of plays out. So that the movie plays out during the first chapter of the game.
Same characters, same.
To a point, yes. So the character that you are, which is Noctis, who is the prince, he's referenced quite heavily in Kingsglaive. So I don't want to spoil either of them, but they tie in together well. So there's a lot of stuff within Final Fantasy the game that shows you what happens in the movie, but it just shows you key points. If you actually go and watch the movie, you find out so much more, and there is so much more that just ties all these characters together, and it just holds it all to a point where you want to finish it. You want to find out what happens, and that's what's driving me, is the want to finalise it. So that's where I'm kicking on and getting back into it. Hopefully this time it'll be a bit more of an easier playthrough, I suppose, and I've kicked up the difficulty to another level as well. So it's not just going through all that easy stuff trying to push through it. It's actually playing it on normal how it's meant to be played.
Just don't go up against those beasts that are too high a level for you.
Yeah.
Because that was a painful afternoon.
Yeah, that was only a level 15. I've wandered into the nest of a level 54 cobra-looking thing that literally looked at me and died. I just, see you later. Gone. Run away, back to the spawn point. I don't care. Just leave it alone. Alright, yeah, so both of those reviews are now up on the Aussie Gamers Express Facebook page and also on AussieGamers.com.
Yep.
AussieGamersExpress.com, sorry. Get over there, have a look, leave us a like, leave us a comment, leave us your feedback, thoughts, anything. We're always looking to improve on what we do and try and show you guys everything that we can.
Thumbs up.
We can do that too. Alright, so our last couple of things we're going to talk about today. It's been that time of year, you know, we've got the Christmas tree, we've got a nice scotch, bit of fun, bit of friends and family. Time to look back on the year that's passed.
2016.
2016.
It's, as a gaming year, I think it's
been a flop.
It has had its moments, but I really think
Yeah. I'm sure many people, and I know who you are, will laugh at me and have a bit of a snigger over this, but it's been a year of goddamn fucking remasters. Don't want to hear any more. I'm sick of seeing a remaster out there. I have got the latest and greatest console. I have got the technology to run it. So I don't want a game that I've already played once 7 years ago. I don't want a game that looks like an 8-bit mashup.
Yeah, but do you think, like,
You know the biggest problem is
The Last of Us remastered.
this whole retro thing, right? The problem is, mate, we lived through the retro period of gaming.
There's
So we
some
played
good
them.
games back then.
Oh, phenomenal games. But we played them first time round. And we
Yeah.
beat them first time round.
And that was
So
when you had 3 lives.
Yeah.
If you got to the last level on your last life, bang,
Oh.
whooshka, back to the beginning.
Back
No
you go.
save points.
No
check
save
points.
points allowed. But yeah, it's definitely been the year of remasters, I think. While there's been some phenomenal games brought out,
Do you think a remaster? I mean, this year, we've seen The Last of Us remastered. That's getting another one.
Last was
Last
part
of
2,
Us 2.
yep.
Do you think these remasters?
Not on my list, by the way.
Do you think these remasters is a way for the game developers to
Cheat.
cheap to bring out a new game. Like, we'll remaster it, we'll re-render it up so it works on the current console, and then all we'll do is we'll just cut and paste and change little bits here and there, change the story a little bit, and bang, we've got a...
No, I don't think it's a cheat, because if you have a look at the difference between the remasters of, say, Gears of War and Gears of War 4. So Gears of War was created as a remaster, maybe to give the guys a bit of a leg up to start creating number 4.
They're tracing, essentially. They're bringing forward, tracing over it, making it look pretty for the new thing,
yeah,
and then copying and pasting it across in the new game. That's...
Yeah, see, there's a lot of that stuff, but I think a lot of times there's... I don't
If
know,
it was that good, you would still have it, and you would still enjoy it for what it was on your old consoles. And if you've got rid of your old consoles, then... Haha! I've still got my PS3, I've still got a PS2. PS1 died after a rage quit of Siphon Filter. And all my Xboxes died, but I mean, there's still those few games that I'll always play on the PS3 that I've always got. There's a couple of games on the PS2 that I have that for some reason I'll still go back and enjoy. And the PS4 games, and
yeah, see, occasionally for the trip down or memory lane or nostalgia, whatever you want to call it, for those sorts of trips, I will turn the PS3 on, and something as simple as DuckTales I have on the PS3. You know, that's, I think, an old Nintendo game that was brought out on that.
I think I played... There was a DuckTales game on the Commodore 64 that I had.
Might be the same thing.
And then it went on to NES, it was a little bit different, and then essentially they just reskinned it, made it look good. And
with the PS3, I've only got 2 games left on that. One being Killzone, and the other being...
That's because that is a sick helmet and I would never get rid of that.
That's exactly right. The other being a Far Cry, which I'm slowly going through and mopping up a few of the last trophies to get the platinum, which has just been something that's happening in the background. But yeah, overall, I think the gaming year's been a bit of a flop, especially compared to the last ones. It has come good in the later stages of the year.
I don't think there's been that one game that... I mean, if you look at Game of the Year, it was an online multiplayer shoot 'em up.
Yeah.
There hasn't been... I mean, there was Uncharted 4, which I personally haven't played, but you've played it, you said you enjoyed it.
Yep.
That's probably the only game this year that's had
the big
story.
Yeah, the big thing with Uncharted 4 is it's a one console game. So it's on the console that most of us have, yes. 50 million to 10, can't go wrong. I've got both, so it doesn't matter. But Overwatch, I've played a little bit of it. Really not a fan. I don't do a lot of first-person shooters anymore. But
that's because you're mainly playing as 10-year-olds that can kill you within 2 seconds.
They kill you with their brain or something nowadays, I think. Alright, so mate, so of all the things that you've had a look at this year and we've been able to get our hands on, what was your biggest personal gaming moment of the year?
Biggest moment was EB Expo. Straight away played PlayStation VR Drive Club and had about 5 minutes playing that, and that just blew me away, and to the point where I wanted a VR straight away. I hunted one just about through every store in Sydney, and eventually got one in between the second shipment and the first one, in a galaxy far, far away. But playing some of those VR titles, kind of seeing where it's going, and probably the biggest thing was the Rogue One X-Wing VR mission, which I put a live stream up on YouTube. So if you go through the Aussie Gamers YouTube page, you can see that playthrough there. That was just like playing X-Wing, the PC games from back in the 90s, but you're actually in the X-Wing flying it, and it's just super cool. to the point where on my second and third playthroughs, I'm still laughing my head off.
Yeah, if you go and watch the video, you have to know that that was actually Royboy's second playthrough, so he already knew what was going to happen, but still like a kid in a candy shop.
And the other big thing this
was
year
absolutely in love with it.
is platinum in the division.
Platinum in the division.
But it just basically biggest thing this year is just playing with yourself and Red and Lucas online and Weeksy and all the boys, just getting in amongst it. And even if we're playing different things, just playing, being able to chat, and the technology now that you can play driving games online and what somebody's doing.
We've had a few encounters throughout the last 12 months on Project Cars on different tracks.
And it's all real time. I can sit there and watch what you're doing. You can sit there and watch what I'm doing.
Yeah, we've had a few cracks with that. This year's definitely been, and that's probably one of my biggest moments for the year as well. Has the social interaction that we've been able to have. So not only within our core group of mates, but with people from the page, and even down to something like the division. I've spent now over 15 days total time playing the division. Some people might say addiction. I'd probably agree with them.
I say he has no life.
Well, there's that too. But that's probably one of the biggest things that's we've been able to have, is it's just that social side of it. A lot of people look at gamers and sort of go, oh, you're just this nerdy bunch that doesn't get out, doesn't do anything. But there's a few memes on Facebook. I may not have a life, but I choose to have many. So it's one of those things where I get to go online. I play with certain people religiously. We're always in there together. Then there's nights when our schedules don't sync up for whatever reason, and you're on there by yourself. And with a game like a division, I can walk into the dark zone on there, and usually get picked up by a team of 2, 3, just another lone player, and we can run around there for a couple of hours using the game chat. I've picked up a lot of friends. I've picked up a lot of people on my list internationally, just from just being able to run around on the division. But
and it's the thing as well, we come home from work and it's a way to unwind, de-stress from the hard day. You can sit there and relax. We're not going to a pub or anything else. I mean, we've all got families, we've got kids and wives and dogs and cats and boats or whatever, but I mean, it's just a way to come together and spend time with your mates and have a bit of fun.
Yeah, but the other biggest moment for me was Uncharted 4. So finally getting to a point where that was actually completed. The story was finalised. It was a very fitting end to Nathan Drake, the story. But that's I must admit, I'm not someone who goes back and plays a lot of games for the second time. I usually play them once and I've had my fill and on they go. But with Uncharted 4, I've gone back for a second time and I'm actually going through the hardcore run now. So I'm actually looking at platinum in the game eventually, which I should hopefully get there.
You're a gluttony for punishment.
I am a glutton for punishment, but it's good. Yeah, it's good. Just I can't say a bad word about it.
I stress enough.
Should it have been Game of the Year? In my opinion, yes. But with the best gaming moment, what's been your biggest disappointment?
Biggest disappointment? Oh, there's a few games that I've been disappointed with. Probably a strange one, like we could probably go into No Man's Sky. That the first 3 hours, 4 hours of playing that was so much promise, and then the next 3 hours was exactly the same as the first 3 hours, and then I think it was like the 7th or 8th hour, it was like, this is just the same thing over and over again. They promise so much. I mean, like some of these games, there's a lot of thought and a lot of programming and a lot of time and effort went into it. For what it is, if they'd have come out and said what it is, then it's really just an overpriced indie game. But I think it was just disappointment from all the internet hype it got.
Yeah, well, I think the hype train was really our fault, as in the gaming community's fault, because it was something that we took at, we took a preview from E3 and went ballistic over it. And the internet, it went into meltdown, for the beauty of this game. There was all the different things of putting it up next to Jurassic Park and having that sort of look with it, and all these people talking about these big majestic creatures that come up. And
No, I've just got another disappointment to come
oh,
up
okay. Yeah, No Man's Sky was my probably, or one of my biggest downfalls for the year, because even though I wasn't excited for it, I was excited to see the technology, to see the procedural generation of the worlds, and to be able to really get stuck into it and see, how many different things I could find.
But 5 planets in, I was still finding the same trees, the same...
Well, that's exactly right, and that was my biggest problem with it, because
some people were saying, seeing the big T-Rexes, and I never even saw one.
I never actually saw an animal.
I saw a couple, and it just was like, you mine something too much, and this little bot comes and shoots you. You shoot.
Oh yeah, but that's a bot. I never actually saw a moving creature. So one of these procedurally generated creatures, whether it be the big dinosaur-looking thing or the derpy-looking things that we've all seen videos of, I never saw anything. I never saw what the penis mushrooms that would jump around everywhere. I didn't get to see any of that, and I visited probably 5 or 6 worlds, and it was that 6th world that I got onto, and the need to constantly recharge my suit to stop me being hit by the elements.
But it's a survival game.
It was a survival game, but the constant need to recharge, I just found it to be too frequent and too needy, to the point where I was spelunking, I suppose you could call it, through a cave system. Couldn't find the stuff that I needed, so bang, dead, game over. And it was with that I...
I'm just laughing at Patrick's dog at the bottom of the camera.
Little shit of a thing. Yeah, it was at that point that I got the shits, twisted the controller, near I snapped it, and rage deleted the game. Now, not someone that does that very often, but that was to the point where it got me. It was just it just put me to a level of frustration that I haven't had in a long time, because I was so interested to see this technology behind it. Not so much, I knew the gameplay, I was a late adopter, so I already knew about all the problems that it was having, but I still wanted to see it and experience it for myself with that open mind.
Yep.
And it got to the point that it just overly frustrated me, and I had to see you later. Had to get it done. Bloody dogs. But what's your other one you think of?
The other one I'm thinking of is when I got my VR, I played just about everything that there was for free, and then I picked up a couple of games.
Started forking out a bit of coin here and there.
One being the Martian Experience VR, which I tried to stream, but it failed for whatever reason. The game probably knew I was streaming and didn't want me to pan it on YouTube, but essentially it cost... I got it for $23.99, and that was on special. I think it's like a little bit more now. But essentially that whole thing went for about 25 minutes, and about 10 of those minutes were load screens, and it follows the Matt Damon film The Martian, the key elements. Whilst what you do is good, but it's just, you sit there and you do something for a minute, and then you watch Matt Damon for 5, and then you go, it just really was the biggest disappointment. And I know there's a lot of VR experiences coming up, one being the Apollo moon landing, where it's been trailered that you can go through.
Will Tom Hanks be your co-pilot?
No, it's Buzz Aldrin.
So it's original.
It's following Apollo 11. But I mean, if this is the way that those experiences are going, like, it's, if you're spending $20, you want something that's at least going to go for an hour and keep you wanting to go back and do it again, not something you play once and you're done with it.
That's pointless. It's not engaging enough for you.
And the other disappointment on top of that is probably just about every game that's come out in PSN this year. That was my joke reference, but it's pretty spot on, I think. There's been a couple of good ones, but I mean, for the money that we pay each year to...
Well, essentially it's, we pay for the PSN service, which hasn't been as bad as it has been previously years. And, the games are a bit of a booster, but PSN game that you have, that you've played religiously, how many have you got?
Rocket League.
That's the only one I've got.
Broforce.
Yeah, I don't even have that on there anymore.
You should.
Why? No, I'm playing them. I'll get it. Go home and play it. Alright, done.
But,
yeah, well, I don't know, there's been a lot of different talk over that, but being that I've been able to go onto the other side of the fence as well now, so for the last 6 months I've had myself an Xbox One. Yeah. And
shame.
It ain't much better. Everyone raves about the backwards compatibility. We've already spoken about the remasters and my thought on them. Backwards compatibility, yeah, it's great because if you've got that list of games already sitting there, and the fact that you get 4 games you can play on your current console every month.
Tomorrow, you can get the Xbox One S for $2.99 with Battlefield 1 plus a movie.
Yeah.
The price. I mean, I'm not allowed to get one. But I mean, if I was allowed, I probably would have one for
that sort of number. That's not bad.
Mainly for the Forza games, which lack, and I mean, it's a.
Well, we're both petrol heads, and the Forza games. You've come around here a couple of times and give me the controller for Forza. Play it very daintily because you don't want to touch the Xbox controller.
Gloves on,
yeah,
for protection.
Yep.
But I mean, there is good games on the Xbox. There's good games on the PlayStation. Sometimes they're allowed to be on the consoles at the exact same time, and when that happens, it's great.
Well, that's one thing that we're going to get stuck into tonight, aren't we? Talking about being allowed to on the same time. We're recording this a little bit earlier than it's going to go live, but Division Survival goes live tonight on the PS4.
About time.
About time. So we're roughly...
I picked it. Everyone said it would be the same as Xbox, but I said no. PlayStation poor people will have to wait.
We're roughly
sold aside.
Roughly an hour and a half away from the servers coming back up. Hopefully, in the background, the PS4's been downloading.
And hopefully all my kids have jumped off YouTube for the last 2 hours so it can download. But
good luck with that one.
Yeah, well, I've NBN, so...
that should be alright then. Alright guys,
us internet speed freaks. Well, that brings us to about the end of this
I think that's it.
I hope you enjoyed it. We'll just go through. So just don't forget, I've written...
We have notes so we don't get in trouble.
And I've hidden it behind this beautiful bottle of the Butcher of Lewkone from The Witcher.
Mm-hmm.
And little Vault Boy with the bobblehead. Now, don't forget to check out the website at www.aussiegamersexpress.com. Subscribe, follow, like, and all the social media malarkey at Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter by searching for Aussie Gamers Express. And also, don't forget to listen to the podcast on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, and Stitcher. And go on the website, have a look through. There's reviews, there's news pieces. Check Facebook. There's unboxing videos. There's a whole lot of content. Live streams, everything else. I think we'll probably do a live stream tonight in the Division. Yeah,
I dare say if all goes to plan, those of you who have subscribed to us on YouTube will get a notification.
And subscribe and click the likes and do everything else, because the more people that do it,
the more people that do it, the more our egos get fed and the more we make.
And the more I feel loved.
And he needs to feel loved.
But now, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be probably back with you next week in between
Christmas and New Year. So hopefully, if they allow us back, I reckon we can come back and do another one.
Maybe.
We'll see how we go.
And we can discuss what Santa has brought us.
Yes.
So
before the New Year's Eve fairy brings us a headache.
I've been Royboy.
And I've been Snoogans. A Merry Christmas to all. happy festivities and love to all and your loved ones.
And remember, he knows who's naughty and nice.
All the
See you
best.
next time, guys.